21.2 Physiological effects of age on exercise and performance. In this presentation, I will be looking at effects of age on athletes' performances, covering many significant factors in which play a huge part in its effects on the individual's performances. What is aging? Age is a way in which humans determine how long an individual has been alive for, described in years, where every 365 days that they have been alive for adds 1 year on to the age of them. This is named an individual's chronological age, as it is simple how many years a person has been alive for. This chronological age is often used to determine averages as well. For example, the average lifespan of a human is 70 years. Age, however, can also connote someone's health as well, due to the body's peaks as well as demise, with athletes' known physical peak being around 26 years of age, although it may vary for different sports. With this in mind, with the correct equipment as well as knowledge, we may also determine an individual's biological. This is done by running tests on an athlete and comparing the results to different ages, allowing us to work out the body's physical as well as biological age. The lower the biological age compared to chronological age is often considered very healthy. This is due to the body's demise with age. For example, if a 20-year-old has a lower range of flexibility compared to the average 50-year-old, they would be considered unhealthy in that aspect. This is due to many contributing factors that athletes encounter with age and will be covered now. Skeletal adaptations due to age. From the ages of 0 to 20, our bones continuously grow at different rates when it stops and then begins to regenerate itself every 10 years. This is called bone remodeling. This means theoretically you have a completely new set of bones every 10 years in your life. This is able to occur with the help of osteoclasts, as it is able to remove existing bone to allow osteoblasts to replace with new bone cells. This allows athletes to have dense bones, reducing the risk of injury. Helping this process, with the correct nutrients and exercise, athletes are able to increase their bone density, decreasing the risk of breaks and fractures even more. During their careers, they will find that their peak bone density will come at ages around 25 to 30, before aging kicks in and gradually decreases the rate of bone remodeling. The older generation would find that this means their bones become more brittle and easier to break when the remodeling system is unable to keep reproducing stronger bones. This can affect an athlete's career, often forcing them to retire at around 35 to 40 due to bone-related injuries, as well as many others that we will be covering later on. To reduce bone depletion rates, when you get into later life, again, exercising and nutritional diets are effectively stalling the reduction in bone density. As well as this, it is also possible to get a disease named osteoporosis concerning bone health. This disease, no matter what age or health weaknesses, weakens bones, again increasing the risk of breaks and fractures. Looking at stereotypes, many people believe that sports like bowls and golf are more for the older generation, whereas sports like basketball and football are for younger audiences. These stereotypes must have come from somewhere, and with this acquired knowledge of bones and their density levels at different periods of a human's life, I believe these stereotypes have taken this into account with sports like golf and bowls, as they are walking-based sports with zero contact compared to a fast-paced physical game like football and basketball, in which requires a strong skeletal system to withstand the impact without getting injured. To maintain fitness in later life, swimming is often the most suitable exercise as it is a low-impact movement, however, stimulates the muscles as well as working the cardiovascular system. Although this is a great exercise, low-impact sports like swimming does not stimulate the osteoblast to relay newer and stronger bone. However, to do so requires some impact activities as you need to try and stay as strong as possible. The cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system is the way in which the blood circulates around the body as it supplies the oxygen to the working muscles. This is obviously a crucial component of fitness within many sports that requires aerobic endurance. During maximal exercise, the heart has a maximum rate that it can reach. This max is calculated by minusing the individual's age from 220. This obviously shows that the younger generation has an advantage, as the heart can climb to a higher rate than an older person when required. For example, a 15-year-old's heart will be able to reach a maximum of 205 beats per minute, whereas a 50-year-old will only be able to reach a maximum of 170 beats per minute, allowing the younger individual to work as harder and faster rate than the older person. Alongside this, the older you get, the weaker your heart walls get, especially when you're not completing nearly as much cardiovascular exercise as you used to. With the weaker walls, it also means that the heart is unable to pump as hard as it used to, decreasing the stroke volume. As stroke volume and cardiac output goes hand in hand, an elderly person's cardiac output will also decrease. This then requires the heart to beat quicker to supply the entire body with the usual amount of blood in a minute it has done its whole adult life. So going back to the older person's max heart rate, we know it decreases, causing a disadvantage when performing. However, now the older generation also have another disadvantage because with their now increased resting heart rate, they also have less room to go up through, as their max heart rate is not as effective as it would have been if their heart walls hadn't got weak. With this in mind, it effectively creates an even lower max heart rate, making it incredibly hard to compete with the younger generation with their high max heart rate alongside their stronger walls. Looking at a sporting example of this, Usain Bolt had been the most dominant 100-meter athlete in the world for a decade and a half. However, at his last track meet at London World Championships, he finally lost. The 100 meters is a maximal event, and therefore he will be working up to his max heart rate, which would have been lower than the younger Justin Gatlin, who ended up winning the race. To stall this occurrence after retirement, many tried to train maintaining their cardiovascular fitness, keeping their heart walls as strong as possible. Effects of age on the muscles and flexibility. With age, many individuals experience sarcopenia, which is a type of muscles that occurs with aging and immobility. It is a degenerative loss of skeletal muscle mass, quality, and strength. With a lack of muscle balance and stability is proven to be a real issue in which will definitely affect a person's performance in any sport. For example, playing football, this will increase the rate of injury with less muscle to protect yourself with, as it would be easy to get pushed off the ball and tackled. The rate of muscle loss is dependent on exercise levels, nutrition, and other factors. These factors will allow athletes to stall the inevitable muscle demise. Alongside all their weight programs, as they keep stimulating the muscles, athletes will often also have a nutritionist in which allows their body to experience more longevity. This, however, is only slowing the process down rather than getting it to a complete stop, and therefore younger players will find that they will have a slight advantage, as this maybe allows them to get to the ball that little bit quicker. Alongside the muscles, ligament and tendons will also become much stiffer, reducing the range of flexibility. As players get older, you will find the muscular and ligament injuries are the main source of injuries, often forcing players to retire. A lack of flexibility within the joints and muscles creates a far greater risk of injury, let alone the downfall in ability. The football player, older players will find that they won't be able to stretch for the ball as far or even kick as far because they find their leg can't go as far back as it used to. When looking to limit this demising factor, stretching every day helps limit the amount of flexibility that will be lost over time.